What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and welcome if you're new here. I'm Nod, and today we'll be taking a look at a few combo videos for Nekroz, utilizing the new cards that we will be getting in Terminal World 2. So what we have here is the card that will be used for the one card combo, which is Avance, Swordsman of the Nekroz. What he does essentially is whenever he's normal summon, he can special summon a Nekroz monster from the deck. He has an unclassified effect, whereas if you were to ritual summon exactly one Nekroz ritual monster while he's on the field, you can use him as the entire tribute. Also, he has a third effect that whenever he's tributed by a card effect, you can add back any number of banished Nekroz cards to your hand with different names. This effect is once per duel. So we're going to normal summon Avance. He's going to special summon Amelia, and then summon she's going to add us a Nekroz ritual monster or a Nekroz spell card. He also has the effect that while you control her, you can use her as the whole tribute, and she has another effect where she's an extender if you have a warrior Nekroz on the field or in the grave. So we're going to add a red bear, and we're going to use his effect to discard himself and tribute up to 2 Nekroz monster from our hand or field to send that many Nekroz cards from our deck to the grave. So we're going to tribute Amelia, which we're going to send, which unlike the other Nekroz spells, you can use its effect in the grave, even though you have a monster in the field, to banish itself and a Nekroz monster in order to add another Nekroz spell, including itself. So we're going to add a Nekroz cycle, which can ritual summon from the grave. So we're going to use the cycle to tribute the Avance to ritual summon the red bear. And that's going to trigger Avance's third effect, which is going to add back all the banished cards with different names. And that's pretty much what you can do with just a single Avance. Alright, so now we're going to show you a 2-card combo if you open a red bear and Avance. So we're going to start off by normal summon Avance. Avance going to special summon Ariel. Now we're going to use a red bear's effect, tributing both of them to send 2 Nekroz spells from our deck to the grave, which will be Cycle and Mirror. Now Ariel's effect is going to trigger, which before she wasn't useful in the Nekroz deck, because what she does when she's tributed is she adds a non-ritual Nekroz monster from our deck to our hand. And before now, there wasn't really any good non-ritual Nekroz monster other than Shroot. So now, seeing that we have Amelia and Avance, she's a lot more useful than she was before. So now we're going to use Mirror's effect in the grave, banishing the red bear to add us Divine Mirror. And we're going to use Cycle, banishing the Ariel to add us Kaleidoscope. So we're going to use Divine Mirror to tribute the Shroot to ritual summon from the banish, which unlike the other ritual spells, this is a quick play spell, along with the fact that it can ritual summon from the banishment and it can use its graveyard effect while you control a monster. Shroot is going to trigger, adding us a Brenek. Then we're going to use Brenek's effect, adding us Amelia. Now we're going to use Amelia's effect in the hand. Whenever we have a warrior Nekroz on the field or in the grave, we can special summon her from our hand. And now she's going to trigger to add us Unicorn. Now we're going to use Kaleidoscope to ritual summon Unicorn by sending Herald from the extra deck. That was going to trigger, adding us a Trishula. Then we're going to link those 2 off into Coral Anemone. So now we're going to use Coral Anemone's effect to reborn the Avance from the grave, because it has 1500 attack. And then we're going to use Divine Mirror, banishing the Unicorn to add us another Divine Mirror from our deck. So pretty much what we have here is a setup to Trishula in your opponent's turn when they have a card on the field, in the hand, and in the grave. And we're going to also trigger Avance's effect to add back all our banished Nekroz cards to our hand. Alright, so now for the Xyz 1-card combo, we're going to normal summon Avance. He's going to special summon Amelia. She's going to add Catastor. So now we're going to Xyz summon into King of the Feral Imps. And he's going to use its effect to detach to add us a Gigabyte. Now we're going to use Catastor's effect, targeting Amelia in the grave to reborn. And what Gigabyte does is whenever you control a spellcaster monster, you can special summon it from the hand. And we're going to use those 2 to go into Bahamut, and Bahamut is going to summon Toad. Then seeing that we have 2 rank 4s on the field, we're going to go into Utopic Future and then Draco Future. So pretty much 1 card gets you to an Omni-Negate that's going to get you back a starter, and a Monster Negate that's going to negate and steal that monster. So now that you've seen the ritual combos and the Xyz combos, you can be as flexible as you want with them, because you don't have to go strictly ritual or strictly Xyz. You can do a mixture of both, similar to this combo here. So it's going to start off similar to the ritual combo, where we go Ariel, and we're going to tribute both of them in order to send 2. And we're going to add the Shroot, banishing the spell to add us Divine Mirror, and then banishing another one to add Kaleidoscope. And Shroot's going to add Bernac. Bernak's going to add Amelia, and she's going to special summon, adding us the Unicorn. So right here is where we bridge into our Xyz combo. So we're going to go into Bahamut. Then we're going to use Bahamut to get Toad. Then we're going to use Mirror to banish the Unicorn. So now we're going to use Catastrophe Reborn. And then we go into Armored Fortress. Armored Fortress going to detach, adding us full Armored Xyz and Armored Xyz. And we're going to go full Armored Xyz to equip the Bahamut to the Toad. This just means that our opponent can't just summon a Fenrir and beat over our Toad, because our Toad is now bigger than the Fenrir. Also, we have our full Armored Xyz set and we have our Divine Mirror set. So in the opponent's turn, we can go full Armored Xyz to go into Dark Lancer, and whenever a Toad uses this effect, we are going to have a Bahamut Shark in the grave to equip to the Dark Lancer, and he's going to trigger his effect to attach an opponent monster. We also have the Divine Mirror, which we can use to ritual summon any ritual monster from our hand or banish at any given time in our opponent's turn. If we have a Trishula in hand, we could do that, but it's important to note that Trishula is a win effect. So if you try to summon him chain link 2 and above, he's going to miss his effect. However, if you try to summon him by being chain link 1, then you're going to get his effect. Then, because Avens was tributed, we're going to add back all our banished Nekroz cards. Alright, so in this combo, instead of going for the full armor Xyz, we can go for Utopic Draco Future or more negates pretty much. So we're going to go Earl Imp, and he's going to add us Gigabyte. And we're going to go with Catastrophe Reborn and Avens. Gigabyte's going to summon. Then we go into Bahamut. Bahamut's going to summon Toad, and we're going to use those two to go into Utopic Future and then Draco Future. Then we're going to use the Divine Mirror in the grave, banishing Unicorn to add another Divine Mirror. And in our opponent's turn, we pretty much have 4 interruptions, which is a Toad, the Draco Future, and a Red Bear. Also, whatever you steal with the Draco Future, if it's about like level 4 or higher, you can just use that as tribute fodder instead of your Red Bear. Or if you have another card in your hand, you could use that. Also, seeing that Toad will add a card back from the grave to the hand, you can always add the Shiri to the hand to use with the Divine Mirror in order to summon the Unicorn, and then Shiri's going to trigger to add us a card. So we're going to plus in our opponent's turn as well. Alright, so if you've enjoyed what you've seen so far, you can leave a like on the video, and if you're interested in seeing more videos from us, you can subscribe to the channel. Alright, so let's explain what you're looking at here. So pretty much what we have here is what the Nekroz core would look like post Terminal World 2 going forward. So the main starters will be Avens, Bernak, and Prep. Bernak gets you to Avens and Prep gets you to Bernak. So you can think of these 2 cards as an additional 6 copies of Avens followed by 2 Amelia. You don't see her over Avens. So we're running her at 2 along with 1 Ariel and 1 Shirt. These cards don't really do much on their own, so we're running them at 1 because we don't really want to see them much. We'd like to search them when we can to trigger their effect. Alright, so about 2 are Red Bear. So as you've seen, it works well with Avens. However, the reason why we're not running at 3 is we don't want to see too many of it in our hand. So that's pretty much it. 1 Catastrophe because it gets our Xyz package going, along with Unicorn because it recycles from the grave any Nekroz card, with the additional factor that it's a part of our rank 4 package. We have 1 of each of the old ritual spells. They're useful, but not as useful as a new spell, because the new spell is a quick play. It says equal to or exceed. It also can use its graveyard effect while you control a monster. So with all those 3 factors, it doesn't really make sense you run more than 1 of the other spells. You only run those other spells because you want to be able to ritual summon more than once per turn to get your combos going or to break boards. These 3 cards, it depends on what you'd like to build. Trishula is a good targeting protection. So if you were to get burned on your Avens and you have Trishula in hand, you can use its effect. The second effect, where it banishes a card from the hand, field, and grave, it's a bit too technical, seeing that your opponent has to have those cards in the exact placements in order for its effect to resolve. So it all depends on what you're going for. You could play Costless. Before, it was a card that you needed to play at 3 because it adds you to Nekroz spell. But seeing that Amelia does that and she also can add a ritual monster, I don't really think that he's needed as much. Along with the fact that his second effect to negate a face of monster from the extra deck, it doesn't really matter if you have Unicorn on the field because the only thing it's really going to do is turn its attack to 0. And as you've seen, most likely we're not going to just summon Unicorn alone. We're going to have Unicorn and friends. I don't really find it as useful as it used to be. However, you can run it at 1 just for the presence. Mellotron, I think it's way better than Trishula, seeing that every turn you get a banish off it. Also, while in the scale, you can use it to get rid of floodgates pretty much by just banishing any one of your spells from the grave with a monster to add another spell. You can just a floodgate. Mizuchi, it was supposed to be down here, but seeing that it's here, let's talk about it. All right, so we have access to Mermail King. So whenever a water monster is sent to the graveyard to activate a water monster's effect, you can add to the hand or equip an abyss equip spell from your deck or graveyard. So the Mizuchi is a spell negate. If you equip it in your turn and it falls off in your opponent's turn by negating the resolution of a spell, and then you use like Toad to negate something, the king can trigger again to equip the Mizuchi from the grave. So essentially you have another spell negate because it's not a once per turn because the card falls off after it negates. You have your other extra deck cards. These are all dependent on the build that you're going for. Other cards you can play would be like the Dogmatica package where you have Maximus and Nadir. You could also play the Virtue Dragon, another like route other than a Toad. So instead of a negate, you get a pop. So if you know you're going up against a trap deck, you can always go for like a Virtue. So you will stop their plays in their turn, and whenever they set up to like in their turn, you can just pop like any 2 cards that they set and you're pretty much solid. If you're playing Thrust, you can play Water Spiritual Art. So they ask you or draw you, you just set Water Spiritual Art and then you tribute a water monster. Take a look in their hand. The Imp, as you've seen, it's pretty useful, but it's not really necessary. But it's good, right? The deck not only plays through Shifter, the deck can play Shifter. So if you're thinking about going against the meta, seeing that this deck isn't as powerful as it used to be because it's pretty much power creep, you can always play it as a Shifter deck, and that'll mean that you'll get more value off your events whenever it's distributed. So you'll add back a lot more cards to hand other than like about 3 or 4. So yeah, that'll be it for the video today, guys. Remember, leave a like and subscribe if you liked the video. And if you're interested in seeing more videos from us, and see you guys next time.